Public consultation on the disability bill in Zimbabwe have been hailed as inclusive and part of the national legislation formulation as the country makes strides to embrace international frameworks. These consultations seek to ensure no one is left behind in terms of policy formulation.
The much-awaited moment and occasion that everyone was looking forward to is here now. We have all been looking forward to the gazettement of the Persons with Disabilities Bill, and this is an exciting moment for us. We are gathered here as a family that consists of people who are coming from diverse geographical backgrounds, people with diverse impairments, people who are passionate. The common trend is that they are passionate about disability, inclusive development. We also have parents of children with disabilities, and we have got development actors who are with us, who are really passionate about disability. So we are a family that is gathered here to do something that is very key, that is very important to the disability sector, to disability constituents. The analysis of the Persons with Disabilities Bill, which was gazetted on the 9th of February this year. Like I said, this was something that has been long in the pipeline, and we just hope that we are closer to reaching the desired destination.
The goal is to make sure people with disabilities have clear, enforceable rights, as aligned with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Bills a precedent to act of Parliament, so we cannot allow bills to go to Parliament without scrutiny. Each bill must be scrutinized so that we check whether it incorporates the values and principles that underpin a certain sector, a certain societal issue. So this is a very noble undertaking, and I totally acknowledge the supporters, the financiers, the sponsors, and the drivers and champions that have made this day possible. Of course, I have to mention Igor Zimbabwe, RPD, UN Family, the government of Zimbabwe, all your organizations and others whose names have not been given. But I reiterate that this is a very noble initiative.
Achieving this aim will also help fulfill the UN Sustainable Goals, as well as the pledge of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development to leave no one behind.
Again, I'm the Senior Human Rights Advisor in the Resident Coordinator's Office. I've met a number of you, worked with a number of you. I have worked in peacekeeping missions. I have been a legal officer. My background is in law as well. I've been a legal officer with the African Union, with the African Commission on Human Rights. And I am so happy that we are now here to discuss and consult on the bill. As far as I remember, we started discussions around the drafting of the bill or resuscitated in 2019. I know that this story had been going on for long, but in 2019 it was kind of resuscitated along with the policy. We saw the policy coming into fruition, and for some time the bill seemed to have died. But I was so happy to hear that it's back on the cards and and it's gazetted. I think for me this is also a testament, and I think we need to acknowledge the commitment of government. It may have taken this long, but in government things take long, and we need to appreciate just that commitment to actually take these things forward. The policy, we have the bill now. I can also inform you that the government has committed on the international stage at the Human Rights Council last year to actually drive persons with disability issues agenda, but also to include persons with disabilities in decision-making and policy-making processes.
Also known as public inquiries, public hearings are typically organized as a way to gather public opinions and concerns on national issues before a legislature.
Persons with disabilities have had challenges accessing education, particularly in higher tertiary education. So when you require a certain threshold of points attained at A level, you may lower that to increase the numbers of those that were traditionally marginalized.
Yes. Even fees.
Yeah, even fees.
You may lower the fees.
You may lower the fees and so on. But the idea basically is to try and redress the gap, the historical gap between those who have always been marginalized and those who have always had it all in their life.
But I just wanted to add on what Director Marando was saying. Actually, he stole the boat out of my thunder.
What is born out of God?
Okay. And I was going to say, as you were saying that tertiary universities, tertiary education, back then when we were in college, we used to have such a principle which we called affirmative action, where people with a bit lower points would be granted places at the university. I still want to require by threshold saying so I'm actually one of those who benefited on such a program. And at that time, the cutoff point for art student was 11 points. But through the affirmative action of the group which was called the University Support for Blind Students, I managed to go in with 10 points. So I just wanted to add an example of that.
Women and children run through intersectional labor within a crisis. So intersectionality is broad enough to include marginalization of persons with disabilities. It doesn't then focus on the exact needs of women within that marginalization.
Maybe the principle of individual autonomy, where we'll be talking of freedom of PWDs to make a choice, so independence from it becomes very critical. Thank you.
So, how do you define freedom of autonomy? How do you explain it? What does it mean?
Yeah, I thought maybe the way I put it at all.
Yeah, I didn't hear it.
So I don't know, maybe the principle of taking it, but I'm thinking possibly we add a principle on individual autonomy,
yes,
where PWDs are also given freedom to make their own choices, independence and so forth. It becomes very critical.
The Sight Savers has been leading the campaign to ensure equality for everyone in Zimbabwe by initiating citizen engagement to gather views of people with disability on the legislation.
My name is Peter Bare, the country director for Sight Savers Zimbabwe. Today we are having a very wonderful meeting where we are discussing the disability bill, which was gazetted on the 9th of February this year. So today we have called upon different organizations of persons with disabilities, and we have called upon the legal experts in the field of disability and the legal expert in the field of lawmaking, so that they can also unpack the disability bill for us. They can unpack the disability bill for the persons with disabilities. And you know, when a disability bill is gazetted, what will be critical is for the public to be consulted, for the public to view out their opinions, and also to recommend on an act that they really want. So today, under the Equal Zimbabwe campaign, the campaign that was launched on the 7th of February, and Sight Savers is spearheading this particular campaign with a coalition of organizations of persons with disabilities. So it is the role of the Equal Zimbabwe campaign to facilitate such consultation, to facilitate such engagements, so that at least when we talk of a disability act, we are talking of an act which is of world-class standards, an act that is going to improve the rights of persons with disability in Zimbabwe. In the Equal World campaign, and which is also the umbrella of Equal Zimbabwe campaign, it believes so much in the participation of persons with disability in the nation. In Equal Zimbabwe campaign, one of its core mandates is to ensure that disability rights are upheld in this nation. And one way of upholding disability rights is to have an act that is in sync with the Constitution of Zimbabwe, an act that is in sync with the international standards. Here I'm referring to the UN CRPD. And as you are aware also, in Africa, we are calling for the African governments to ratify the African Disability Protocol. So the African Disability Protocol has got so many facets, so many standards, which we also want the Zimbabwean government to consider as they are enacting the Disability Act in Zimbabwe, because it is a protocol that tries to address disability within an African context, in a protocol that appreciates the role of customs, the role of traditional beliefs as far as disability is concerned. So today we are gathered here to unpack the disability bill and to have views from the constituents itself that the disability constituents as far as a disability law is concerned.